Welcome to Upgrade. I'm your host, Frank the Tank. Today I bring the Logitech Webcam 925. We're going to take a look at it and see how well it works in the low light, high light. I got actually lights all over here, so it's going to be a little difficult to explain, but we're going to try the green screen too also. We're going to try it without any lights to see how well it works, and we're also going to try the mic to see how also if it gets a good mic for any kind of web conferencing. Now that a lot of us are working from home, doing Zoom calls, team calls, this is probably the best thing for you. So we're going to take a look at it first and see what you guys think about it, and you judge it, see if it works for you, if the audio's enough, if the video's enough. So we're going to see and take a look at it. So let's go ahead and start. First of all, they have instructions, very simple in the box. It's just simple, just get it out. It's nothing fancy, just a plug and play. You could download their application too. They do have some updates application. They go upgrade the firmware too also. You can do that from there. The good thing about this camera is that it has this little lens block, if you guys can see it. And it's right now, if you guys can see, I'm gonna put it a little closer to this camera. That's an awesome feature. I think all cameras should come with something like this. A lot of the Logitech cameras don't have that. They actually have a cap that you have to purchase, or you have to put it in there. And if you lose it, it's pretty much lost. Now, I like this feature a lot because I know that I'm not going to I'm not going to misplace this cap. It's built in here. Now, if you can see, there's a lot of mics here and a lot of speakers. Or it's not speakers, for mic inputs pretty much. So hopefully it's going to take some good mic. And then, of course, if you guys can see it, this has a grip, the rubber grip. This is a natural thing that the Logitech does to other cameras. They put rubber ends here so it won't damage any of your monitors or anywhere you're going to clip this on a TV or something like that. And of course, this is bendable. If you guys can see, this is also bendable too. So it could adjust to different grips that you need, you know. So on top of that, if you want to do a web conferencing, you can actually even put it on a tripod if you want to, and it has it threaded in, so you can actually just, you know, screw it in there, and simple as that. Or like I said, optional. You can always put it behind a camera, TV, or a monitor. You know, very simple. I like this. That's a plus all the time. I like it that you don't need to remove this, because a lot of the older Logitechs, this was removable. I didn't like that, and then this was right underneath the camera. So I like this. That's all built into one. We're gonna take a look at it and see how well it works. So let's go ahead and test it out. Alright, so we're going to test the audio from the actual camera. This is the actual audio from the camera. Right now we have a fan overhead, and we're going to do noise cancellation test. And the way I do it is I play an audio on my phone of a crowd audio, and then I just kind of put it around me, see how well it works, and if it's even worth like the canceling out certain audio. Right now we currently have a fan. You might be able to hear it. So right now we're going to do a light test first. I'm going to turn off the light, and this is without any kind of lights. Right now I do have one overhead. I'm going to point it out to you guys. That's the overhead light that I have. That's the only light I have in here, and it's an actual propel fan. So we're going to turn it off, and not the fan. We're going to turn off the fan and the light. So this is at a minimum light, as much as I can. And then if I turn on the light, that's pretty much what it is. So darkness, this is pretty much dark. I'm using only the light that's coming out of the laptop, which is really dark, and it's pretty heavily some of the stuff you can't even see that well. You can see my teeth, that's about it. But this is a poor light, of course, visibility. So we're going to turn on the light again, and we're going to turn on the fan because it's a little cold, a little hot in here. So also let's continue on, and we're going to do a green screen test, and also see how good quality it is. If you can see some of the letters from far away, also if you can see some of the colors. So we're going to go ahead and do that. All right, so we're going to do a test on actual color, and I'm going to step a little bit back so you guys can see it. And this is pretty an iPad showing multiple colors. It's pretty much a chromal test for coloring. And see if you can see the blue in the corner on this side, actually the dark navy blue, and then the red on the corner. So this is pretty much how you're going to see qualify of the colors. Now, if you guys ever go to a doctor's and you get a doctor's test, I'm going to show you something if it's legible to see some far away. So I'll put some items in here along with my face. And if you could see it's legible, some of the letters. This is pretty much what you're going to see from this camera itself. So the camera's not that bad. You could actually see pretty good, really good. Actually, some of the letters and the bottoms are legible too. So not bad. We're going to continue with some testing. We're going to do a green screen test. So if you're going to be streaming on this camera, you can probably use it as a green screen, and you can also maybe block out some of the stuff in the behind. And let's go ahead and do that. So I just want to show you guys the actual green screen before, and I do have a light overhead me, and I have another one that I'm going to actually move away from, so give it a better green screen. And if you guys can see it, there is an overhead light. I have a green screen right behind me, and I do have a background. We're going to embed ourselves in the background, see how well it works. So if you're in a Zoom call or you're doing a Teams call and you want to make sure you blend in with the background, you can do something like this. So let's go ahead and do the green screen. So if you guys can see the green screen, I'm gonna put some more light so I can fix it up a little bit better. So when you direct light to yourself, you can actually cut out some better. And if you can see, you can't see too much of a green screen. So let's fix it up a little bit more because you are gonna need some good lighting for this stuff. So let's go ahead and keep cleaning it up and see if we can clean it up some more on the chromo part. Try to fix it as much as we can. We'll try to see without disappearing, and maybe I have to put more light in front of me, and maybe that's the only way to get rid of it. But this is pretty much what I'm gonna be working with, and I don't have too much to work with. Some of the colors are still dissipating. Default, I have to change it back to default most of the times to work it. That's pretty much the green screen, the best I can do. And you can still see some of the border. If you guys can see right here in this border part compared to the picture in the back, you still see that fuzzing. So this camera is not very good for any kind of green screen if you're going to be streaming, and you're going to need a lot of light. And right now I have a very powerful light, just to let you know. If I move it away, this is pretty much what you're going to see at home. You kind of disappear from here, so you're gonna have to go back and change some of the features. So for green screen, this camera is not very good. Even though it's an HD 1080 HD, it still doesn't qualify as a good camera, even if you change the brightness on it. Not very good for green screen. So that's another thing that you want to check it out. So that's another test that we're doing, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's continue on. So overall, the green screen is a fail for me. I mean, you do need a lot of lighting, and for minimum light, for some of the streamers, they use a higher end camera, and I would suggest a Brio. The Logitech Brio is a really good brand, and even it doesn't need a lot of qualified light, so it can work very well. But this camera requires a lot of lighting. Now this is a good camera for your Zoom calls, your team calls, everything else, but if you're going to be streaming, it's not a very good camera for that. The upgrade is a little difficult to upgrade the firmware. Even if you download the application, you might have to run into a couple issues. I mean, if there's firmware upgrade, I don't know. The best thing out of it is pretty much the shutter. So let me show you guys the shutter. Pretty much blanks out the whole picture and everything, and then it zooms in. And this one automatically kind of adjusts to my eyes. So if I move left or right, you can see it kind of blurs out a little bit. If I cover my eyes right now, it's gonna get a little blurry. So it takes a while for it to actually, like recognize my eyes and automatically zoom in. But I like that it has a green color when it tells you it's on, and it's red if its audio's off too, also for muting. The audio is pretty high quality on this one, so I'm looking at the bars, it's picking up very good. Like I said, good for everyday use, but not good for streaming. If you're going to use it for everyday use, it's a great camera for students out there that are looking for camera. Really good, and it has a privacy shutter, so I like this. So if you guys like what you guys see, make sure you guys subscribe. I'm your host, Frank the Tank, and we're out.